Hi, I'm Sandi Genovese, and today we're going to create a card in a box that's filled, in this case, with butterflies and leaves. And I thought, it's sort of the right time of year for this. I'm not even sure what greeting exactly I'm going to say in it, but the cool part of this, I've made these before, and it's one of my favorite constructions. It goes together nicely. It folds flat, so you can put it into an envelope and mail. There's room here for when I decide what my message or the greeting is going to be. I've got room to place that. For whoever you're going to send it to, they need a little help to know that when they push right there, that is what's going to create the dimensionality that allows it to look so great when it just sits open on display. Now, in order to start with, we're going to start by creating the box part of the card. So I started with a piece of brown cardstock, and mine is 7 inches by 10.5 inches. And I'm going to use my scoring tool, this Stampin' Up! Scoring tool. If you've watched before, you know I can't live without it. What I want to do is I want to come in a 1/2 inch, and I'm going to score. And then I'm going to come over 2.5 inches and score again. Another 2.5 inches and score. Another 2.5 and score. And then I'm going to turn it this way, and exactly at the halfway point, which since this is 7 inches, that means at 3.5 inches, I'm going to find that channel and score right down the halfway point. That gives me the box. For the dividers, if I pull this up so you can see, for these dividers that are going to sit inside the box, these are going to be out of the same paper. And I need to cut these first. I need 2 squares that are each 3.5 inches. So 3.5 inch square, another 3.5 inch square, and then this one is 3.5 by 4. And I'm doing it this way because if you get this back piece in first with these fatter tabs, it will make all the next layers easier because you can line this up with the fold edge, and it will make more sense when I do it. But I'm going to lay this down, and on this, I'm going to lay it the 4-inch way, and I'm going to come in 3/4 of an inch and score. And from the 4-inch side, I'm going to come in 3/4 of an inch and score. And then I'm going to take the other 2, and this time I'm just going to come 1/2 inch and score, and 1/2 inch from this end and score, and do the same thing with this one. 1/2 inch, and from this end 1/2 inch. What that means is my folded edges, these are going to be Z-folded, so I'm going to go ahead and fold these right now so that you can see what I mean. So this is going to be a Z-fold, this is going to be a Z-fold, and this is going to be a Z-fold. However, notice that these tabs are fatter, but this inside portion is the same size. I want fatter tabs so I can line this up when I go to slide it into the box, and I can line it up with an edge, and then it will mean every layer will be straight. So here is the box part, and I'm going to fold on my score lines on each one of these. They need to go all the same direction, either all mountains or all valleys, whatever's easier for you. And now I'm going to cut, and I think I'm going to use longer scissors so it will just go a little bit faster. But I'm going to cut halfway. You can see, hopefully you can see, there's the score line that I made at the 3.5 inch, the halfway point. I'm going to start at the top. I'm going to cut halfway along my fold line to that halfway spot. So following the fold or the score that I just made, I'm going to cut until I get to the fold and stop. And then just continue along each of these fold lines. I'm going to get to that score line and stop, and I'm going to cut this tab off at the score, at this mid spot. So there's the midpoint. So I now have this ready to go. in order to turn it into a box, what I want to do is I'm going to fold it and I'm going to put adhesive on this and overlap so that I end up creating what's the beginning of the box construction. So I'll put my adhesive along this tab, and then I'll close this up and press. At this point, I like to figure out where the back is going to be, and I mark it. I just take a little piece of, this is just some colored paper with removable adhesive. This reminds me that this is the only tab that I'm not going to fold down. All of these others are going to fold down. You don't have to do them now, but we can do them now, and that way it's easy to not get confused with. This is now going to be the back of the card. If you look at, you can see I'm creating this. In order to add this stripe dimensionality, we'll just stop right now, and I'll go ahead and I'm going to lay this down, and I'm going to add my stripes to this side and to this side. And what I'm going to use to make those stripes is just a white correction tape. It is a nice, inexpensive way to add that detail. So I need to place, I'll start at the bottom and make my lines. So this is just a way of creating brown and white striped paper. Any place where my lines are not solid, I'll go back later and fill those in. I can either fill them in with a white correction tape, or this has quite a bit. Sometimes I kind of like the look of it being not perfect, but if there's too much and I want to fill it in a little more, I can just go right back over the top and add in any place where it looks like, instead of looking like a random on purpose thing, if it looks like a mistake. So then I'm going to flip this over. I want to press down and make sure that it really sticks in all of those places. And I showed you how you could go back and add the detail, but as I said, for any smaller places, you can go back and you can use a white pen to add, to fill in any place else. I like having some of this look sort of not perfect, so I'm going to leave some of it just because I like that look, but you can go back and fill it in as much as you want. So you end up having the three sides that fold, and then the one that I didn't actually fold, it a little curl, but it's going to stand up nicely because I didn't do an actual fold on it. Trust me, just put your, if you're going to add a stripe detail, do it before you glue that tab and glue that box shut. It's much easier. Okay, once you have this set up, now we want to put the dividers that are going to be inside, and they're what are going to hold whatever embellishments, in my case, butterflies and leaves. So I want to find the one that has the 3/4 inch, the fatter tabs, and this is going to go in first. And what I'm going to do is put adhesive on this edge and this edge, and it's going to allow me to slide it in like this. And this side is going to align and perfectly with the back of the card. And by getting this one straight, it means that the other one is then going to be very easy to place. So I'm going to put adhesive on. Basically, you want to put your adhesive next to a mountain fold. So I have to flip this one over in order to have another mountain fold. So now I'm ready to slide this in, and I want this edge to be flush with the back. So I'm going to slide it in. I'm not going to even worry about this edge right now. I just want the edge that is going to tuck against the back wall of the card. And I'm going to tuck it against the back, and I'm going to come down to the bottom and make sure that it's tucked against the back and press on it. And when I know, see, this other side is just loose inside here. It's not fastened down. I only want this first one stuck. Now, to make sure that it all folds up straight, all I have to do is take my card, lie it flat. There's adhesive in there. when I press on it, it is going to fasten itself to the wall of the other side. So when I pull these down out of the way, now you can see it's finished, it's attached, and now you know that it's going to be straight because you started with this side being straight, and that means that the rest now should go together really nicely. I hope I didn't just jinx it. I'm going to put adhesive next to the mountain fold on the next tab, and I'm going to place this one so that it tucks up right against the one before. And by tucking it against the other one, that's how I ensure that it will be straight. So when that side is tucked up against, and when this side is tucked up straight, I'm going to let this one be loose. Now when I close it up with the adhesive on there and press so that it will catch and fasten itself, and you can see that I've now got the next layer inside attached. And then I'm going to repeat the same thing with the final tab. You can see that it allows me to attach all three. And then sometimes I'll go back with my fingers and just reinforce all of those edges. But you can fold the card either direction. You can fold it going this way, and it will fold flat either way. So you now have the basic construction. Now it's just decorating. So now it's a question of adding the things that you want. And I usually add the things inside first, and then I go back and do any decoration that you might want to add. If I close this up, you can see, what I'm going to consider to be the cover. But for right now, let's just look at the inside pieces. It's easiest to start with the back and then move forward. So I'll start with the back butterfly, and it is purple, but it has blue showing through. And rather than try to create blue polka dots on a purple butterfly, unless you want to get out paint, it's not that easy to do. So what I did was I just took and I used 2 hole punches. So I'm going to punch a few punches with a 1/16 inch and a few punches with an 1/8 inch hole punch. I think I'm actually going to do more of this 1/16 inch. It needs more. And now when I you can see when I layer this over the blue, how it's going to give the effect of those polka dots. The only other thing that I did, and I won't stop to do the whole thing, but you can take a marker, in this case black, and create details where you're going to add some detail here. I'll go ahead and add a portion in the middle for the black body. I would try to do sort of the mirror image on the other side of the other wing. As I said, I am not going to stop and do it. You would color this portion in and then go back with a white pen and add the details. So you can see how you're going to get all of that detail. The black pen with the white dots and all of the blue showing through the purple. Let me go ahead and place the blue behind so we get the effect of the polka dots. And because, let's see, if I line it up, I'll have what looks like a purple, and then I am not going to stop and make the time to do it all, but it is not difficult to go back and add in. It just adds really a lot of depth to add in some details in some black and white edges. So once you've done this, if you look at the other butterflies, you can see that I've just used the same black with my white dots and just different colored markers and others dots again with the hole punches in order to create the detail. It's very quick and easy to do. So in this case, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start attaching from the back. So this first butterfly, I'm going to, let me look and see here. I'm going to turn it my way long enough to fasten it down so I see which side to put my adhesive, and then I'll turn it to face you. So I want this purple butterfly to be on the back, and you can see, remember I said you can fold it flat this way or fold it flat this way? I'm going to fold mine this way. So that means that all of my, when I fold it up like this, all of the details, all the butterflies and the leaves need to be contained inside this frame, so that when someone starts and looks at their front cover, they're not looking at things sticking out and poking out. So I've added the butterfly, and then now I start adding the other layers. So the next thing that I added was a leaf. I'll put some adhesive on this. And I'll place a leaf going, once again, let me do this so you can see. I'm trying to decide, I'm going to place the leaf here, but remember, I can't go this way and go outside this edge. It has to fit inside this design. So I'll move this so that it's roughly going to sit like this, and I'm going to stay inside. I'm going to lightly press and make sure when I fold it, it goes, yeah. And then I'll go ahead and press down to really make that adhesive fasten. So that adds that layer. And now you can see it's a question of adding more leaves and more butterflies. Fasten this last layer in and press down. So you can see how it's going to go together. This will give you the inside of the card, and you can put as many more leaves and as many more butterflies as you want, just depending on your taste. And that's assuming you may not be using butterflies and leaves, you may choose something else. When it comes to decorating the front, you can see that I've designed it so that it folds this way like so. And this, remember I marked, this is the back portion. So if I lay this down, you can see that I want to tell people to push right here. So I'm going to take an arrow sticker, and you can pick any color you want. I think I'll pick this blue. And it's going to open like this. So I'm going to tell them that they want to push right here. And I have to turn it to face me in order to write the word push, because I can't write it upside down. You would think all those years teaching that I would be able to write upside down. I can read upside down, probably from teaching, but I can't write upside down. So I'm going to write push so they know that's what they need to do in order to open the card. And once they've opened it once, they can see opening and closing is just a question of folding. And then when they push there, it's going to create the dimensionality of the card. I'll remove this back, this little colored paper that I had to remind me that that was the back and that I did not want to fold on this line here. And I would go back at this point and I would add, if you look at my finished one here, you can see that I added a butterfly and leaves, and like I said, I left room for more text. But all of that information can be added once you've put the basic card in a box together. Now this is doing one that's kind of floral and sort of spring themed, but I've made them lots of different ones, and I thought I would show you just to make sure you can see the possibilities should you decide that you want a different theme. Here was my Christmas card, I don't know, I want to say maybe 3 or 4 years ago, and it closes up. You can see that I've got my message printed because I had to do a whole bunch of them on the computer. And I've once again tell them to push, and when they push and open it up, you get the stars with the angel. And then with one of the companies I'm licensed with, they have created the card in a box. This one birthday themed, so you can see this one has cupcakes and it says happy birthday, and when you close it up it says you take the cake. And then here, this one, you can see it says, when it's closed up, it says, heard you were feeling under the weather. And then it's got umbrellas. And when you open it up, it says, feel better. But Same basic construction, just different guts inside. Really fun to do, and so much fun for the person you're sending it to. Who knew that simply pushing on an arrow would reveal such an awesome card?